Hey everybody, welcome to your restorative yoga practice. Today I'd recommend having lots of pillows or a chair or a stool. We're going to do a lot of seated forward folding, and that can be challenging if your posterior chain is tight. And by posterior chain, I mean anywhere basically along your back body. Doesn't have to be hamstrings, glutes, but it could be. And also, sometimes the neck, the shoulders, anywhere along the back, that can create, if that area is tight, it can create challenges in terms of forward folding. So have enough blankets and pillows and or a stool or a chair to help support your body so that it doesn't feel like you have to go so far into your fold as to reach the ground, so that your forehead or your chest or your arms can rest on something. One of my favorites, if you have blocks and bolsters at home, is to make a little shelf with your props. So I just set 2 blocks down, and then again with blocks, the nice thing is like you can change the height of the blocks, so you could set it on a high setting or a low setting, and you can adjust that. You can also use books and stuff. So I'm seeing a question from a student, can't see the video. I get that a lot, and so I'm glad you're bringing that up before we get started. There's a slight delay, so do your best to listen to my instruction. Your video should show up in the next couple of minutes, but if it doesn't, I typically get the feedback that instructions are good enough if you listen, that you can follow along. We're not doing anything crazy today. So what we're going to do is start off by just stretching the right leg out to the side. And then we'll set the sole of the left foot towards the inner thigh. So you're extending right leg out long, bending left knee, let the sole of the foot rest to the inner thigh. Okay, so already you're going to get a sense of, is this sustainable? Like, is it really hard for me to sit upright like this? Or is there a lot of rounding in my upper back? That's when you'd want to pull your props close to you, like your stool, your chair, creating a little stool with props if you have that, and just set that. I like to set it over my knee. Okay, so I just frame out my knee with whatever props I'm going to use on the straight leg, so in this case the right leg, and then I'm going to turn and just frame out my right leg with my fingertips and see if we can sit up nice and tall. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And then we'll start to see if you can hinge forward from your waist, and maybe set, if you're using props, you can set your forearms, your elbows down onto your props. Okay, and your body's going to tell you, oh, I need more height, I need more props, I need a higher stool, I need a higher chair, I need more pillows, whatever it is, to be able to forward fold. Okay. It could be the case that you can draw your chin into your chest and just let your head kind of rest in space here. And then eventually, as you hold this for time, the back body might let you rest your forehead on something tangible. Eventually, doesn't happen right away, doesn't even have to happen today. I'm just going to set us a timer here. We'll be in this shape for about 3 minutes. And so now is the opportunity to just start to notice where you're feeling resistance from your body, from your muscle tissue. Typically, it's the muscle tissue that's resistant. Sometimes it's bone to bone. And just notice where you feel that. Do your best to settle into your breath. So see if you can breathe in and out through the nose. See if you can just relax your back body. You relax your jaw, your neck, your throat. And just give us some time in silence. So just know that I'm right here with you. And I'll let you know when time is up. I have about a little bit less than a minute here. Just do your best to continue to relax your shoulders, your neck, your jaw. Last 2 breaths here. And then if you're deep into that forward fold, start to sit up nice and slow. Take your time with that. And then before you do anything with your legs, we're just going to turn and counter stretch. So you're going to turn towards your left hip, left fingertips behind you, right hand to outer thigh. Just give yourself a little nice lengthening through the spine. Deep breath in here. Slight rotation towards your left hip. And then unwind out of that. And if we're using our props, we're going to switch out the legs and shift everything to the second side. Okay, so now we'll extend the left leg out to the side. Straighten out through that left leg to the best of your ability. You're bending your right knee, sole of the foot, just resting against the inner thigh. And then I like to, again, as I said on the first side, I like to frame out my straight knee leg with my props. That's about the right length for me and my torso and my ability to fold. Before you go into your fold though, just take your fingertips to either side of your straight leg. Pause here, breathe in, get up your spine. And then exhale. We can start to see if you can, again, hinge forward from your hip bones. And then see if you can take, maybe it's your elbows and your forearms to your prop. Kind of depends on what kind of prop you have in front of you. Just hinging from the hips, folding a little bit, maybe the chin resting towards the chest. We have 3 minutes here on this side. I'm going to give us some time to settle into silence. So if you don't hear me for a while, I'm still right here with you. I'm breathing alongside of you. Notice as we're halfway through our hold, Sometimes the body will start to want to go a little bit deeper into a shape. You can always change the height of props underneath you. You can always remove props. The opposite could be true. Your body might need a little bit more support, more height underneath you. You can always add props. Take 2 more breaths here. And then we'll start to sit back up. And once you unwind the spine, just take a moment before you do anything with the legs. We're going to counter twist to the right side. So right fingertips behind you like a little kickstand. Left hand to outer right thigh. You're just rotating that torso off to your right side. Pause here, big breath in. Big breath out. Yeah, and then we'll unwind and we'll face forward this time. We're going to stretch both legs out to the sides. And then maybe this is what I like to do is play with, again, notice what you, like for example, I'm not trying to forward fold at all right now. So I just have both of my legs stretched out in like a V shape. And the V shape can be any degree, right? It doesn't have to be, your legs don't have to be really wide. You also don't have to get your legs super straight. You can bend the knees a little bit and slide some pillows underneath the backs of the knees. That can be helpful, again, if the back body is tight. Adding height underneath the sits bones, cushions, pillows, blankets also can be helpful if back body is tight. And then, of course, my favorite, adding props underneath the belly, the chest, and the forehead. So you can take that stool, that chair, whatever you're using, right in front of your belly, your chest, and again, make that shelf there. And then we'll take an inhale, breathe in, get tall through the spine. And then an exhale, see if you can hinge forward from the waist. Lean into this a little bit. I'd say for your first minute or so here, and I'll tell you when that is, let it be shallow. You don't have to go to the what you think your end range of motion should be in this fold. And for some of us, that might mean like hands are resting right in front of us, and we're just drawing the chin into the chest, and we're trying to get the spine to move towards a more straight position because there's a lot of rounding and tightness in the back body. So that's a great place to start. Start where you are. Doesn't matter what I look like. You don't need to look like me. Let yourself be you in your body. Easier said than done, right? Our egos get in the way and we want to be very flexible and bendy and all kinds of things. But I'd see if you can let this practice be more about being gentle and kind with yourself. So that might mean adding more props. And then when you find that stillness in the pose, see if you can soften, relax the muscle tissue, get heavy in the bones. Relax your jaw, your face. And just focus on the breath. We'll spend some time in silence. about halfway through our pose. Notice if you want to go a little bit deeper, you can always adjust those props. A little bit less than a minute here. Do your best to breathe, relax. Two more breaths. And then hands under your shoulders, start to press your way back up. Pause at the top, deep breath in, deep breath out. I'm going to set my props off to the side for a moment so you can see what I'm doing next with my legs. So I'm going to take my hands underneath the backs of my knees and then just kind of help my legs come together, because after being stretched out for that long, they need some support. All right, so two different options for this shape, because it can be challenging if our hips are really tight. And again, if our back body is really tight, that's the theme of today, right? Working with the hips and the back body. So first option here, we're going to come back to the leg, the right leg being bent, right shin and ankle bone and knee on the floor. Then we're going to pick up our left foot and then maybe see about stacking left foot on top of right knee. And so you're creating like this fire log shape with one shin stacked on top of the other one. If this does not work for your body, trust me, you're not alone. It's a very challenging thing to do if there's a lot of tightness in the lower body. So what I'd offer instead, an easier cross-legged seat. Easier is relative. So don't worry about stacking left leg on top. Just let it go forward any amount. Let it be a loose cross-legged seat, okay? So you're either stacking the legs one on top of the other like a fire log, or the left shin foot is going forward of the right foot, and you're just letting that be what it is. You're practicing letting go, okay? And then just like we've done before, we'll take our fingertips in front of the legs, deep breath in, grow tall through the spine. Deep breath out, settle here, relax the shoulders, the neck, the jaw. And then if we want to try and forward fold into this, again, we can pull our stool or chair up close to us. We can rest our forearms there. We can let the chin draw into the chest. And we can always get creative with what props we have at home to build a little support system in front of us to lean into. I have about 3 minutes here. One thing I would say too, as you're settling into this shape, is there's a lot of space between the right knee in the floor or in between the left knee and the bottom foot, use props in that blank space. You can stuff pillows and blankets in there so that the joints aren't hanging out in space, but they get some support from props. Usually that allows the muscle tissue to relax a little bit quicker. It stresses out the joints a little bit less. About halfway through our hold, a little over halfway through our hold, notice if the body's wanting to deepen. Notice if the body's asking for more support. Two more breaths here. Start to unfold the spine, sit up nice and tall. You can move your props out of the way for a moment, unfold the legs, just plant the feet in front of you, knees still bent, hands behind you, and just knock the knees side to side, just let go of that. Get a little movement in the hips and the knees and the ankles. So just knees swishing side to side like a little windshield wiper. And then we'll set up our second side. So the left shin, outer ankle, and knee towards the floor. And we'll see if we can pick up the right foot, maybe stack the leg right on top. So it would be the right ankle on top of left knee. Shin bones stack like a little fire log. That might not work for you. It might be different from side to side too. So it's okay to have differences. We're pretty asymmetrical, typically, most of us. And so again, just let it be an easier cross-legged seat. Support the space between the floor and the joints with blankets and pillows there. Seriously, like you could stuff little folded blankets in all those little nooks and crannies of the ankles and the knees. Don't be afraid to use your props. Walk your fingertips forward of your shins. Take a deep breath in, grow tall through the spine. So you can hinge forward from the waist, from the hips. And then as you exhale, if the body allows you to, you can draw the chin into the chest. You can fold over the legs into your props. Don't force it. Just let it be what it is. Instead of forcing your body into some sort of depth you think you should be able to attain, build the props up to meet your body where it is. Typically, there's one side that will feel easier, more accessible than the other. I just always find it interesting to note what that side is, and it's just kind of clues like how are you holding yourself throughout your day? How do you sleep? How do you get in and out of a car? How do you sit, stand? All those things add up to differences from right side to left side. about halfway through our hold. Let's take 2 more breaths right here. And slowly start to sit up. Take a moment, pause here at the top, big breath in. Help your legs unwind. Plant those feet right in front of you. Knees are still bent, hands behind the hips, and then just sway the knees side to side. All right, so we'll start to set up for our final Shavasana. What I'd recommend today is elevating your legs, your knees, or maybe even taking legs up the wall in some way. So if you're using that stool and chair, you can just swing the calves over the back of the chair or the stool. You could also just make a pile with all of your props and swing the calves and the backs of the knees over top of those props, and then lay it on down to your back. Maybe if you'd like to, you could always cover your eyes to block out any extra light or distractions. And then the shoulders move down the back body, away from the ears, slightly tilt the chin in towards the chest. Let's take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Gently seal the lips. Just start to breathe in and out through the nose. Feel free to stay in your Shavasana for longer. If you are ready to move on with your day, start to add gentle movement, fingertips and toes, and maybe move the head side to side a few times. Start to bend your knees, roll off to a side. Press your way to an upright seat. Briefly take a moment to sit up and close out our practice. Sitting up nice and tall, one hand to the belly, one hand to the heart. Shift the shoulders back over the hips. Big breath in. Grow tall through the spine. Big breath out, settle into your seat. And then bowing the chin into the chest, take a moment here to honor your practice with reverence and gratitude. To all of our teachers, past, present, future, and to the teacher within your own heart. Namaste, yogis. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you all had a really good practice. And please come back again soon. Take care of yourselves. Bye.